Welcome in, beautiful souls. If you're new here, my name is Jane, and if you're returning, so glad to have you back. I was asking the guides this morning, well, this afternoon actually, what was going on in the ether. So they're just like, okay, let's hit it. I said, okay, so here we are. I'm going to just, I pulled out some decks here that they were asking for. I have a couple new decks here too, so I thought that would be a little curious to see what's going on with them. So I'm going to get right into it here. Let's see here. Oh, hold on a moment. I need to pause the video. My guides told me I forgot to cleanse something. I'll be right back. Hold on. Okay, folks, I'm back. Okay, here. So we're just going to begin. So this is a new deck that I received here. So I just wanted to play with it a little bit and see what is going to come out for us. Okay. Now, this deck, this card was already on the bottom. You are worthy. It's time to stop feeling unworthy, unloved, and underserving. And then this card here, this is number 36 too, so that's 9. So then we have this one, I shuffled and then I split the deck, and it came out on Firebird, is called To Soar. So I'm going to take this one. I'm just going to set these aside a little bit here. At the last minute, they asked me to bring out a different deck, so let me just put my incense down here and we'll get going. I don't know, has anybody else been noticing a few things, such as, like, being really super tired lately, past couple weeks? And has anybody else noticed that time seems to be just going really, really quickly? Because it seems like there's just not enough time in the day or something. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. Excuse me. So this card here, the castabout, here, this is like, see how the water is all turbulent and everything? This is about like falling into denial and like losing oneself, being confronted with like so many burdens and difficulties that it's easy to get lost within ourselves. You could also been having like a lot of failures, like the harder you work, the harder you try, the more failures seem to show up for some reason. And, you could be attempting to flee. Having more difficulties, that tends to have us go deeper into like a confusion and self-doubt too. Now we have experimental inquiry here, and you see that there's like scales. These all these lines in it too behind the scales. It gives me like the spider web of life. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my throat this morning or this afternoon. So this is about where spirit and creativity meets. And are you entertaining some new idea or wanting to do something new? And also you have to be willing to make mistakes. Giving it our all, right? And staying free enough to change direction if it's not working out, and to experiment, letting go if something isn't working out. So there's, having that flow to try things, and then, if it doesn't work out, then fine, let it go. Like this, with all the difficulty here, because, sometimes we end up, well, I know I do, I don't know about you guys, but I know that sometimes, the harder I work at something and then it just doesn't seem to pan out for me, I just kind of dig in deeper and just try to hold on tighter or whatever it is that it's going on. But sometimes it's just better to let it go. And if you know, or just to, you know, unhook your heels from from that energy. Okay, so then this here, the leap of faith, this is, you know, trusting in oneself and believing in, you know, our inner self. You know, we see, I guess, to see ourselves beyond the limiting beliefs that we have within us. You know, and it's about letting go of what you don't think is possible. You know, it almost looks like there's like a breakthrough here by letting go, like finally letting go, and then like there's this opening here, right? And then the universe is here ready to catch you, to help lead you. You know, like going into the void. You know, like it is when you're going into like a spiritual journey, it is really difficult to see past and see through the void. You know what I mean? Because there's so much uncertainty that goes on. Plus, we also spend a lot of time trying to figure out, you know, the narrative that we've been fed our entire lives. So it's a lot of breakthroughs that you know has to happen with that. So taking that leap of faith. And then this one here is entering discovery. So entering discovery is really about stepping into the void, stepping into, like leaping into that void, like we were just talking about here, and allowing whatever mystery is there for you to reveal itself in one moment at a time. You know, the universe is not going to ever show us like everything at once because our psyche wouldn't be able to handle it. So taking the time to break free from those narratives and seeing the truth of our own beings, you know, and I say beings because there's, you know, there's many higher selves, then, you know, there's many dimensions and there's one of us in each of those dimensions. Now that might be hard for some to understand or to believe, but this is really true, and science has actually been proving that lately. So, or at least admitting to it. I think they've already always known that, but now the matrix is starting to crumble, and now they're showing and proving and releasing the information to the public at large, if you're willing to hear that information, if you're willing to accept that knowledge. So breaking free, you know, and having us find our truth by recognizing who we truly are. And this is where we return to where, like, there's wonder, we get to explore, and we gain appreciation for all that is, right? And where we accept all the parts of our being and beings, really. This is where we can balance, align, we can take the time to unpack all of these and reconcile, yeah, to unpack and reconcile all the pain and the struggle and the narratives and the matrix that we've been fed. It also is where you do all your healing and find security of oneself. So there's a lot here talking about how we need to, you know, basically just take that leap of faith, you know, trust that our guides and our angels and our loved ones that have passed on, you know, they're all there. And not to mention like the source, which is all that is. So, you know, when all those things combine, you know, they're there, they're ready, like these hands are open to catch us. We have to be willing to go with the flow, you know, understand that sometimes when we're going through a lot of pain, you know, it's hard to see beyond that pain and to understand why that pain even happens. I gotta keep checking my camera. I'm kind of paranoid now because I had that video that stopped working a few weeks back, so I don't want it to disappear or whatever. Okay, so then the card here, the Archer, came out, which is biding your time and planning ahead. this really is about, you know, like, you might, you know, not comparing yourself to other people, because, you know, you'll find we all tend to do this at times. But, you know, you could be like, you know, an archer. You're, you know, you have your goal. You know, have your target, right? And, you know, you could see all these other people like shooting off all these arrows, you know, shooting, and you're just really stalling and taking your time. But this is all, you know, like having your focus, having a plan, and that it'll come when the time is ready. So when you do finally release that arrow, which I believe this is all talking about your creativity, because these cards all lead to, like, you know, stepping into your creativity. They all do speak about, you know, letting things go if they're not working out, and trying, you know, a new creative path, you know, living through your heart. This here is about making a plan, and understanding what that plan entails before you release that arrow. And when you do release the arrow, once a lot of this healing and exploration of self, and trusting your guides, trusting the universe, it's going to hit the mark, you know. So if the people around you could be shooting all kinds of arrows, and, you know, they could have 20 arrows in their target, but doesn't mean like any of those arrows actually hit a bullseye, you know what I'm saying? So this is where, you know, to do some planning and bide your time, and don't be in a big rush to make anything happen. The walker here is about the unknown journey. Again, they're speaking about going into the void, about allowing yourself to flow with the energies. Now, see that there's a lot of doves here. Oh, are there doves? Oh, maybe not. I don't know. You know, I think this is where they want me to read something in that card. We'll come back to that. There's something they want me to read here. Now, the Firebird, this is being your true self, and not to be afraid to be who you truly are. You know, that you're worthy. You know, and it's the feeling, because if you're feeling that you're unworthy, then that's what's going to come for you, that you're on, that, you know what I mean? You're just going to find, you're going to get more of that coming to you. Hold on, I need a drink. Okay, they want me to pull that out. Let's see what they want to know here about this walker thing here. Walker. Let's see. A sense of regret seems to be coloring everything lately, sucking away the joy of the journey. Perhaps you have been forced to leave something behind in order to move forward, or maybe it's the result of circumstances beyond your control. Whatever it is, this pain is necessary to a point. Rather than wallowing in this self-punishment, shed that regret and move on. Okay, so that's kind of like the cast a boat card here. That's what that talks about. It talks about, you know, releasing and allowing to flow through the energies. Oh, so much paper here, so do more readings here. You know, this is, you know, lose it, because you can lose yourself when you're involved in a toxic relationship or job or anything like that. It's easy to lose who you truly are, because sorry, you're taking in all these energies around you, right? Okay, so I'll take this one and this one. Yeah, heart of compassion. There are many people around you who now who benefit from your loving, compassionate heart. Yes, and that's it. Like they you know, they feed off your energy. They feed off who you are, the type of person you are. Oh, goodness. That paper's flying everywhere here. Let me move that aside. Container. Okay. Paper's just flying everywhere. Okay. Let's see here. Let's put one of these. Hope is on the bottom. Another 10. Okay. Let's see here. You know, going through the discovery of yourself, of oneself, that's where you step into that shadow work. And, you know, it takes time just to deal with all the emotions. But then when you come out the other side, you know, you see the people around you for who they truly are. You see what they're all about. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's also where you find, you know, that's where you really, your boundaries go up too, right? Yeah, look, plans again. You know, see how creative she is here? She's creating a rainbow in the clouds. You know, they're really talking about planning ahead here. Oh, look, more scales. Look at that. It's balancing, yeah. Yeah, that's what happens when you enter the discovery. You find all that balance within yourself. You know, once you find all that, it can't be taken from you. That's something that will never be taken. I'm going to leave that up. We might end up needing that again here. Oh, right. I forgot about that, Spirit. All right. So they had me bring out my mudra deck here. So I'm going to pull out one of these here. Okay. Look at that. See the swirling going on here? It really gives me like stars the limit, going into the void, going into the unknown, all the different timelines, catching up with your higher self. It's on the bottom here. Yeah, balancing the chakras. Balance again. There's a lot of here about balancing. Okay. Let's see here. Knowledge and will. Yeah, that's exactly what it is too, having the knowledge and the will to keep going forward, because once you start learning different things about spirituality and about yourself, you need to find that will within the solar, the solar plexus, yeah. Build yourself from the ground up. Yeah, because that's what happens when you're when you finally take that, when you finally decide to walk away from whatever this pain or bad situation, really, you know, you're really, you know, you're really torn down. You know what I mean? You're really exposed to your raw being, and you have to rebuild yourself. Wow, that was quick. Learn to live in love. And give it your all. Yeah, give your all. Look how fierce this bird is. You know, it's funny too, because when I pulled out this deck here and I split it on the Firebird, that really made me laugh, because that's the only phoenix in the entire deck there. So this, oh yeah, so that's, it makes sense. Like, you know, you burn yourself, you get burned so bad that you just turn to ash, and then you got to rebuild yourself, because that's what a firebird does. That's what a phoenix does. Yeah, help you step into your creativity. Give it your all. There's a lot about this balance going on too here. Let's see here. Oh, the anger. Yeah, it takes time to work through the anger. Safely express your anger. Use anger as a positive force. Honor all of your emotions as sacred. Yeah, you know, anger does build when you're trying the hardest that you can, especially when it's in relationships. You know, you're working really hard, or just a job. You know, you're doing, you know, you're giving it your all, but it just never seems to work out. Be loved. Prepare for your life partner. Remain. Romance is returning to your relationship. Believe you are lovable. Yeah, you know what? The true love, that's finding yourself. You know, finding that love of self, that's where the real love is, right? Okay. I'm going to just start with these, because it seems like I have an awful lot here. I just feel like I need to bring out another dream weaver here. Ooh, lightheaded. What is this? Weavers share the magic tea. You know, this is where, you know, this is where the knowledge, you know what I mean? This is where, you know, you fill your pot, and then you can fill the cup of others. Did I say feel the cup? Fill the cup of others. Put that over there too. Okay. Let's start with these two here. Reevaluation. No, another 20. Oh, no, that's 28. I thought that was 29. Oh, that was 39. Okay. It is time to reevaluate your present circumstances and begin to make changes where changes are needed. Yeah, just comes right out underneath that. Lo, you're a shining star. It is time for you to take front and center stage. This is putting into yourself. This is again, this is all about finding out who you truly are. Nobody can ever take away, once you have that locked in, it's never going to be taken. Okay. You know, this is where, you know, notice that he's standing on the book here. It's all this learning that needs to take place. Learning to live in the love. You know, even, you know, and that's the trick too, is coming out of all this pain and still be willing to love. Okay. Being called to soar comes under here. And then this one here. Oh, look at this. If a cat curls around the moon. Reaching for the stars. Oh, you're a shining star. Reaching for the stars. Let's see what that... there's a message there. I don't know what that message is. letting go of codependent relationships, the value of interdependence. Yeah. Entering self-discovery, that makes sense, that would come underneath that. Making the plans. Having a target. Yeah. What's this one here? Reflectiveness. Yeah, the unknown journey. This is where you do all that reflection. Exactly, Spirit. Finding that your true self. Making all those changes. What's this one here? The magic. That's where you find the magic. Make a wish. Believe in miracles. Magic surrounds you. Yeah, I was noticing here this little how this one here, she's painting. You know, she's creating her own. She's making a plan. She's creating her own life here. And then here we have like this little fairy down here, and she's like communicating with this little fairy. Their inner self. You know, and then you have the magic here. These little fairies. You'll notice too, like, it looks like there's a balance going on. You have the light here and the dark here. This is accepting all your shadow self. Accepting that you're all of these things and more. And it keeps showing all these different stars here. Like with all they're showing a lot of stars. Taking that leap of faith. Okay, let's see what else is here. Divine Masculine on the bottom. Mars. Ooh, Comet. Potential for change. Exactly, Spirit. Potential for change. You know, that's the thing too, is we do spend a lot of time, you know, staying with people, staying in relationships, hoping that they'll change, hoping that you can help guide them, hoping that you can bring them into this journey with you. You know, however, that's not always the case, and that it doesn't always work out so well. Yeah, black hole, acknowledging the void. No joke, Spirit. We were just talking about the void. Hawk flying high. Yeah, that's you. You notice too, all these birds that they've been showing, the wings are wide open. Look, the universe is ready for you. It's the matter of taking that leap of faith. You know what I mean? Believing in yourself, believing in them. You know, they're here for us. It's just the matter of, you know, being free enough to accept them as they accept us. Sun, look, hope and brightness. And the black hole, this is, you know, this is all, oh, you want that here. This is all with that void we were talking about here, like going into the void. Taking that leap of faith. The plans and the reflectiveness, yeah. The sun. You know, you see all these these colors here, and they look like they're going into these dark holes. You know, I believe this might have, oh yeah, you know, I just noticed that word hope, and it came out on the other deck there too, hope. You know, this gives me where, you know, dealing with the grounding, like the solar plexus and the solar and the sacral plexus, like the two, the chakras. Jeez, what's going on here? The solar chakra and the sacral chakra, that's where all the feelings and the will, you know, when you are able to finally embrace your true self, that's where all, and you know, you find all that self-love of self, that's where all the magic starts happening. That's where the creature, that's where the arrow is going to hit the bullseye, right? The center of the bullseye. Okay, Spirit, what else do you want here? Whoa. Okay, this one here. Ascendant Masters, Mother Mary. And so, Celestite. You know, Mother Mary has really been coming out a lot in the readings here the past few weeks. So unconditional trust, just like I was saying here, like we have to have that unconditional, we have to have that trust in them as well as the trust in ourselves. Unconditional trust brings relief to my heart, fresh energy to my mind, and I am gently lifted into joy. I feel a feeling of playfulness awakens in my heart now. I dare to open myself willingly, faithfully, and lovingly to what is and what shall be. The universe looks out for me, has my best interests at heart, and acts for my highest good. I rest in sacred companionship with the Divine Mother and am open to a higher frequency reality. I am so free, graceful, and blessed that I am an inspiration for others. Wow. Yeah. Just like I said, unconditional love. Okay, let's see what else is here. So, with this reevaluation card here, they keep drawing me over here. This is something that we all need to go through. We all need to reevaluate our circumstances, where we are in the world, where we want to be, making plans. I know that we all are conditioned, from the way we're brought up to feel that, working the 9 to 5 and it's all about, just paying the bills and all that. But really, the self-love, that's not how you're going to, I know we all need to eat. We all need to have a roof over our heads. But the problem is, finding your creative self. And, there's a lot of people that when they embrace their creativity and really start doing the things they really love to do and enjoy doing, their business, it's like it comes to them. It flows. Like there was this one guy, for instance, he was just in his spare time, like for his family and friends or whatever, he was making, what do you call them? Cutting boards. And he was just using like different types of wood. And then he was just like in like these little blocks and he was just like blocking them all together. And I mean, they were beautiful. And he was like doing like different designs or whatever. And then he had a bunch of them. He, like, I don't know, 10 or 20 of them or something. And he's like, oh, maybe I'll just put these online and see if I'll sell them, just so that, just kind of recoup back a little bit of my time or whatever. And my gosh, his whole company blew up. And now he has, I mean, you're on like a waiting list of like a year or something to get one of his cutting boards. They're that amazing. There's so many people that want to do it, that want them. That's too many, Spirit. Just one card. Oh, these cards, I don't know whether I'll stick it. What's raining really hurts me. That's why they're sticking together like this. Yeah. And there's others too. I mean, it's not just him. There's plenty of other people that are, I swear that's the same card that kept popping out there earlier. The diamond in the middle. Diamonds are made by a lot of pressure, right? You have here Ascendant Master Mary, Magdalene, and Aqua or Quartz. Okay, let's see here. So this one, Ascendant Master of Baja and Diamond. So shall it be. I pursue my soul's purpose with passion and dedication. I have an inner knowing that everything is working out according to a greater loving plan. Funny spirit. I mean, I was just talking about how when you go into your creativity and how things always work out. It's funny. Okay. My highest priorities reflect the desires of my soul. I generously invest time, energy, and focus on what truly moves my heart. My commitment to my heart's loving truth is my sanctuary. An inner stillness anchors me in peace. I am calm as the wild creativity of the divine feminine stimulates my soul growth and spiritual awakening. Wow, what's this one? Notice the shapes are all very similar, aren't they? It's like a budding flower is what I just heard. Budding flowers. Okay. Ascendant Master Mary Magdalene and Aqua Aura Quartz, Divine Alchemy. With perfect trust, I surrender into the process of radical transformation, allowing my soul to express itself in an entirely new way. In complete faith, I recognize the unlimited healing power and creative genius of the divine within my heart. In the mind of the divine, there are only possibilities and the grace needed to attain the heart's higher purpose. I commit myself to the evolution of my consciousness with joyful confidence in the reality being birthed through my soul at this time. I live with realization that I am loved intimately and tenderly by the divine. Like I said, when you live out of your creative space and you start balancing all your energies and you start doing all that healing and reconciliation of the energies and going with the flow, and when things don't really work out, it's okay to let them go and to make a plan to do something else. But living through your heart space, that's really where all the magic is. Okay, so we're going to do a few tarot cards. Look on the bottom, Justice. Look at the scales again. That scales 3 times. Cool. Oh. Okay, let's see here. Three of Pentacles. That's beautiful. The Three of Pentacles, this is all about the teaching and the learning, the cooperation, mastering your profession, mastering your craft. Mastering your craft. Yeah, exactly. Mastering your craft and finding your community. Because once you the Emperor. The Emperor, and the Wheel of Fortune right underneath. Oh my gosh, I hadn't seen this card before. Oh, and then the High Priestess. Wow. That's really beautiful. Look at that. Look at the Wheel of Fortune. Times are changing. That looks like another Firebird or Phoenix. We have the lion and the unicorn and a turtle. That's a very beautiful card. The Emperor, Three of Pentacles, and the High Priestess. Okay, let's see what we have here. The Hierophant, exactly, Spirit. This is all about being that the teacher and knowing, having all the knowledge. You know, that's still, even though this is a dragon deck, doesn't that really look like the phoenixes that have been coming out? The firebirds? This is the mastery, right? This is mastering. Wow. It's beautiful. The Four Wands celebration. Yeah. You know, this is a lot of stability too, right? The Four Wands. Then we have the Ten of Wands. Yeah, releasing all the burdens. It's a lot of burdens. You know, carrying all that weight on your back. You know, and I notice how, like, it has here, like, had me put it, like, on the leap of faith and on the discovery. And then with the magic here. You might feel like your life is on fire. Like you're always putting out fires. You know, but you can just release it. And just do a whole new plan. I mean, I don't really know. Want to bring another deck? Okay, they want me to grab another deck. They want me to bring in some clarifiers here. Oh, sorry. Kicking the microphone here. Let's see here. Oh, gee, I did it again. Sorry. I'm saying sorry like I'm actually kicking you in person. Okay, let's see here. Okay. So we have the Hierophant. Yeah, see in the bottom here, it's the Two of Swords. This is, you know, you're not seeing the truth. You're not seeing, trying to make decisions. You could be at a crossroads, trying to decide what to do, where to go. Should you stay or should I go now, is what I heard. Trying to choose the best route. Again, it's that creativity within, yeah, some resting. You know, I was talking about that earlier too, that it's okay to take your time, just like the Archer here, like biding your time. You know, maybe do a little bit of resting. You know, you get the Four of Swords here, you get the Four of Wands here, and the Four Swords, right? You know, do a little bit of resting. Oh, jeez, another card flew out. That's weird. Oh, the Wheel of Fortune, look. So we get the Wheel of Fortune twice. Like, times are changing, like I said. Time's moving faster. I think I mentioned that at the beginning, asking you guys, have you noticed the time's been going faster? Okay, I don't usually have my cards fly out like that. I usually have them controlled, but I don't know. Whatever. Go with the flow. It's pouring rain out there. Yeah, times are changing. And so must we. The Fool, look, another leap of faith. What is this one? Yeah, the death and the rebirth. Letting this go, the Ten of Wands. Yeah, that's a lot. You know, there's a lot of energies that we carry around, you know, and releasing them, it sure does make our lives so much better. It really does. Okay, let's see what that has to say to us here. I'm going to close the reading. Prana Mudra. Prana. Okay. That's cool. Prana. Oh, that's not Prana. That's Prana. Prana Mudra. Oh my gosh. It's called frantic flow. Again, that's funny, Spirit. Root chakra, awakening, destiny, vitality, passion, amulets, activity. And that's what I was saying about anchoring, you know, from the root up, like rebuilding from the... Okay. Believe in your higher purpose. Imagine and breathe in the scent of spring, air imbued with the floral notes of nature. Awaken, invigorated with new life and vitality. Gather strength from amulets. Keep a crystal in your pocket. Place flowers around your home, or wear a meaningful piece of jewelry. Use special objects to fortify and protect you as a reminder that an endless and abundant cosmic resource of energy is there for you. It is yours. Harness the flow of your inner resources. Channel these gifts into areas where you wish to focus your unique and special offerings. Just like I said, your creativity from your heart. You are about to enter a phase of your life where this influx of energy will fill and billow your sails. Oh, and look, they had me start here because I'm pretty sure like this... Oh, that's funny, Spirit. Because this is, you know, like you're on the water, but I think this is supposed to represent like a boat. You know, like the rocking of the boat, like going with the flow. That's funny. I love how they do that. This mudra connects you to your root chakra and the energy of Mother Earth and Gaia. Don't be afraid to activate this force within you. Allow it to flow ever upwards through all your chakras. Wow. You know what? And that's what I knew I was supposed to keep that out. Well, I knew that. Aligning all your chakras. During this time of activity, motion, and change, remember to do things that nurture you. Move more and find more time for things you love. Engage with people who light up your life. Act in harmony with frantic flow. This is beautiful. Okay. Do you want me to read that? Oh, Lord. Let's see here. There we go. The will of steel, like I was saying, like with the solar and the sacral. The will of steel, energy moving upwards to higher centers, align chakras, improves concentration, awakens and free circulation, strengthen thunderbolt, willpower. And I was just thinking about where it was raining so much with thunder. You know, these mudras, you can use these mudras during meditations. Oh my gosh. So they want me to read, there's an affirmation here for this here. This is what they want me to read. Amidst the crackle of thunder and the swirling winds of change, I stand in stillness, rain cleansing my body and spirit, connecting to my starry origins. I step forwards in love. You know, that's why they had me mention about the rain. So I was thinking, why am I talking about the rain? It's weird. And they wanted me to say thunder and I didn't. Okay. Anyway, there we go. That's the message today. Letting go of all these burdens and trying to find your creative thing. Make a plan. Get it figured out. Balance everything out. Step into your magic. Oh, this is beautiful. All this reevaluation that you have to do. It's a lot, though. It really is. Okay, so that's all I have. So I'm going to close reading. I'm going to send you all my love and light. And I hope this video finds you well. And I hope you have a good day. Bye, everyone.